Hi there, I'm Tomas Michaud from Real Guitar. Today I want to talk about 7 common chord patterns, also can be referred to as common chord progressions, that you definitely should learn, understand, and practice. And why, might you say, should I learn these 7 progressions? Good question. First of all, in your journey of learning music, it will make learning popular music much easier because it's much easier to recognize patterns to learn a song than to just try and learn it one little piece at a time. It also makes it much easier to practice. When you're learning chords, if you just learn one chord and then another, you're not really using it in a way it's going to be used. But when you practice chords together in common chord patterns, first of all, you have a template that you can use to play songs, but it sounds like something you recognize. It'll be easier to remember, and it'll be more fun to practice. But even more to the point, it'll be actually the way you're more likely to use the chords. And it's also one way to train your ears. By playing, learning, and listening for common chord patterns, you get better and better at identify them, which makes music easier to learn, and it makes it more fun. It also makes it much easier to change keys for a song. So when you're first starting out, you might want to refer to a chart if you want to change the key to a song, but after a while, you'll naturally remember the chords to common patterns in the keys that you use over and over. And finally, if you do get to the place where you want to improvise, it makes it a lot more fun. If somebody can play a common pattern that you recognize, when you improvise over it, you know what to expect. You're listening for the next chord coming up. And it makes it a lot easier and more fun to improvise instead of being caught just as they change chords trying to figure out what to play next. So let me start by saying probably the most common pattern, which I didn't include in the 7, is just a simple 1-4-5 chord. In the key of C, that would be a 1 C, a 4 chord, the F, and a 5 chord, the G. I encourage students to learn and practice the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the most common keys for guitar. That's the key of C, G, D, A, and finally E. Or you can memorize it by remembering the word cage, C-A-G-E-D. It works. So, what's 1-4-5? Well, I did a whole lesson on this a few lessons back in this series, and I'll put a link to it, but I'll do a quick overview right now, just as a refresher. Okay, just quickly, a refresher. I've written out the notes of a C scale. We're going to build a chord on each of those notes. Then we're going to number each of the chords based on where it is in the scale. Of course, that means C would be 1, D would be 2, and so on. Now, the chords naturally fall major or minor depending on where they are in the scale. The C is major, D is minor, E is minor, F and G are both major, A is minor, B is diminished. We're not going to use that for any of these progressions, but it's there. And I've also included the Roman numerals underneath. It's a common way to show chord progressions. For example, you might say, play a 1-6-4-5 progression in the key of C. So what you would do is grab the 1 chord, C, the 6 chord, A minor, the 4 chord, F, and the 5 chord, G. Of course, this applies to any key. We're just using C as an example. I'm going to play each of these progressions in the key of C, just to keep things simple. But of course, you can change it to any key. The first one is probably the most popular in pop music. It's been used for hundreds and hundreds of songs. I might even be understating it. And it's also the theme of that video, the awesome axis of awesomeness, which they really make fun out of this progression. And because it's been used for so many pop hits, it's often called the hitmaker progression. Number-wise, it's a 1-5-6-4. That's a C chord. A 5 chord is a G in the key of C. A minor, the 6 minor chord, and then the 4 chord, an F. Listen and see what tunes come to you. Number 2 on our list is a 1-6-4-5, probably one of the most used progressions in that 50-ish area, but it's still used today and often kind of brings back memories of the 50s style rock ballad kind of thing. In the key of C, that would be a C, A minor, F, and G. See what tunes come to mind. I'll play it a few different ways. Or how about this? Okay, if you can think of some tunes, write them in the comments. And I'm hoping to catch some of the more unusual ones. Some of them are more obvious than others. Number 3, 1, 4, 5, 4. That would be the C chord, an F major, a G major, and an F major. Let's see what this conjures. How about this? Or like this. Number 4, 1, 4, 6, 5. That's a C chord, an F chord, the 6 chord, and then a 5 chord, the G. So you probably noticed up to now it's mostly the same chords used in different orders. That won't always be true, but in this chord progression it is. Listen. One really important thing about chord progressions is to kind of let yourself get used to hearing them and to identifying them when you hear them. It really makes learning songs a lot easier when you hear a chord progression and can identify it, as opposed to trying to pick out one chord after another after another. The chords in relation to each other are much more distinctive. Now we're going to start with a minor chord. We haven't done that yet. This is a 2, 5, 1, 6 progression. This starts with a 2 chord, the D minor, then goes to a 5 chord, the G, now to the 1 chord, the C, and then to the A minor, the 6th chord. Listen. Number 6 is the 6, which is a minor chord, 4, 1, 5. That's A minor, 4, 1, and then off to 5. And finally, number 7, often referred to as the Andalusian cadence, or maybe in the more common terms, a Spanish progression. It's been used in a lot of tunes, not only in its entirety, but in parts which have shown up over and over in pop rock tunes. In this case, it's actually in the relative minor to C. It's one way to describe it anyway. We're going to call this the 1 chord, A minor, the relative minor to C. The 7 chord going backwards, F, 6 chord, and then E will be the 5 chord. Listen. Or how about this? Or how about this? I'm going to leave off the very final chord and just go back up. Okay, and many, many other songs. Now, these progressions are often used as part of a song and not the whole song. So you've got whole songs built around these progressions, and then you've got some songs that have certain parts that have these progressions, and then go off and do something different for more variety. Hey, I know I've given you a lot to think about. Take it a little at a time, really. Don't worry. Pick one progression, kind of get used to it. Maybe try it in a few different keys, then another and add to it. You don't have to do everything all at once. But keep this video handy. Put a link to it so you can come back to it and watch it again later. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. This is actually day 20. Can you believe it? Day 20 of my 30 days of guitar coaching series. I never imagined I could do a video every day for 20 full days, but it's working, and I think I'm getting better at it. You tell me. Leave me a comment below. Let me know how you like my series, and let me know how you like this particular subject. I'd be happy to do some more in this area if you think it'd be useful. I'll be back tomorrow for day 21, whether I feel like it or not, and I hope you'll join me. Bye for now.